For more information on my programs, please visit masajati.com. That's MASSAJADY.com. Hi, this is Masati. Welcome to my podcast, Exponential Intelligence. This is an Ascendance Series, part of the Ascendance Series, and today it's called The Awakening. With me, beautiful Ramona here. She's from Norway, is that right, Ramona?
I'm from Norway, but living in France.
Okay, fantastic. She's had quite a journey, and we're just going to jump right in like we normally do. Now, Ramona, just tell us your background story, maybe before you met me, and then, progress through. And then you've got some fantastic questions that, as you say, awakened, you could ask, because there's a lot of people awakening. It's really an amazing journey, especially these last few months. So we're going to be talking about a lot of deep level stuff here. Ramona, how did you start out? Or tell us before you met me, or how you met me.
Oh, I met you for the first time online on IHH with you.
Okay.
It was in April in 2016, so it's around 3.5 years, I think. So I just heard about you from a friend of mine from Norway. So I was listening into the 21 day, but I felt it was really good, but it's kind of, I was in and out. And I tried to get IHH with you, but I couldn't get it, So it was in April I had the first IHH. And that was from that moment, I've been with you every day, I think. It's kind of,
oh, wow.
It changed my life totally. So, that was the starting point.
So tell us, like, before, when you say change your life, I know a lot of people go, well, how did you change? Did you just feel different? I know you went through a lot of illness, and so do you want to tell us a little more, just go a little deeper into maybe whatever that you've tried? You don't have to name names or anything like that, but how long have you been on this journey of, well, one, just healing your physical body, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes. I was sick for around 10 years before I met you. And, it was starting back in time. I can just start with when I had the first IHH with you, because I had prepared 2 questions for you, and I didn't say anything. And the first thing you said, do you have a sister? And I said, no, I don't. And you said, yes, you have a sister. And that was my questions, So what you told me in that time was that when I was 6-7 years old, my mother had a loss. She was during pregnancy. So
okay.
She had a loss, and she was, and this baby was with me from I was 6 until I was 23. For 16 years, she was around me. And then, then you said, in that moment, after 16 years, she understood that she was kind of dead. And from that time, she was embedded in me. So from I was 23, around that time, I really know that I was starting to get depressed, anxiety. My body was starting to kind of shaking. When I was around 30, I couldn't join kind of a social meeting with people like lunchtime, because when you're holding knives and glasses and things, I was kind of shaking.
Of course.
Yeah. So
especially for you being so young.
Yeah, and I had a kind of good job and important meetings and a lot of champagne glasses, it was not fun. It was really not fun, because I was hiding away from these things, but I couldn't hide. So I was searching for these things. Why do I get depressed and all of these things? From I was 22, so I tried everything. I really tried everything that was possible, and it's everything. So I was around 33. I started to work for myself with leadership development, and that was a good start for me. But I still, I was getting more and more sick. So when I was around 37, I moved to Oslo, and I really had I got sick at that time. It was like turning the light off. What I found out after 7 years, that I had a Lyme disease. And, I had a lot of things. So I was totally exhausted, and I was living in a little black box with just all kind of illness, and I was trying to work, but I lost really everything in that period of 10 years. All the money, I had good works, I had 2 apartments, everything was going away. And I was with a partner in that time, and we tried to have a baby. And because of the illness and all the things, I was just 37, and I couldn't have any kids at that time, or I couldn't from that time. So I lost the possibility to be pregnant, and really lost everything. So I was kind of zero and blank, and was very close into a mental stillness it was not much. It's like a carrot in my head. There was not much left.
No, not much. Well, you're slowly dying, basically. Right? You're slowly dying in living color, I guess you could call it. Right? That death space. And it's interesting, just to interject, Ramona, that a lot of people, they have so many physical issues, and they go from doctor to doctor, like I'm sure you did. I'm sure you tried a ton of stuff. And I'm not saying those things don't work. Those things are fantastic. But if you don't get to the underlying reasons on why the actual reason is that you're ill, like in this case, and it sounds kind of far-fetched, but it's not just Ramona. I mean, that does sound okay. It's like your sister died and now she's embedded in you. It's like, well, how the hell does that happen? Right? So we don't know the logistics. We don't know the details. I could explain it all. It's about time and space, but it still go over your head, as it does mine still today. But the point is that not just her, but there's thousands of people who literally turn around. So we have to take a look at what, if you want to call them the consequences, but their end results. Now, we might not know the actual logistics or the science behind it, or if, science hasn't proven it. It doesn't matter. Science is way behind it. Science is like, I don't know, about 100 or so years past. And we're living right now. So by the time they catch up, I mean, that's going to be thousands of years ahead into the future. The point is that the end result is what's important. There's thousands of people that are recovered, gained back their life, not just physical, but you look a lot younger than you did when I first met you.
Oh, yeah.
So
I do.
And obviously not sick anymore.
No.
So tell us how the process, the process of detox, what you went through, because again, a lot of people will go through this. By the way, it's not me, it's not EI. What we practice, exponential intelligence, it's just all the garbage that we brought in. Would love to hear your story.
Yeah, it was an extremely breaking point when I had the first IHH with you. After these 5 minutes, I just was calculating. After just 5 minutes, I've been searching for millions, of minutes for these results. So
okay.
what was happening then was that I was laughing the whole night after the IHH, because it was kind of, because I knew now it's really possible. It's really possible. I was searching for that man for my whole life, and then he was there. So, and the changing was like going out of a black box, because everything it's like your background there where you are sitting. It's kind of, everything was light. I could go out the day after. It was like, wow, this was like when I was a child. It's like so open. It's really, I can really see it's me, It was just amazing experience. Of course, I still was sick and I had all my thing, but I knew from that moment that my life is to have a new start. So that was the first breaking point that I had. And then it was, for me, it's the biggest transformation that's happening in my life, and it's just what you read about in a magazine. So it was incredible. So and that was the really starting point. So I was with you for two and a half years, I think, and I was going through all the thing you are doing to 21 days, and my form of detox have been more. I'm sleeping a lot to the extreme.
That's awesome. That's a good way to detox, guys.
Yeah.
Sleep a lot. The best one I did when I went through my detox.
Yeah, I could have, it was 1 month. I just, in the summer, that I had a possibility for that. I was just sleeping through that month, just out in the nature, in the bed again. And that was just amazing because I was really, really shifting. I could really see that I was shifting. So I was going through a lot of things, clean up, the body. So I did a lot of things to strengthening my body. It's very, I found out it was very important to have my physical body with me in this work.
Right.
Because I was sick too, so I needed to build it again, build it up.
So if I remember correctly, well, you started, from what I hear, I don't remember, but from what I hear from you, so you started shifting right away. Your physical structure shifted. Your bone structure even started to shift, didn't it?
Yes.
Your bone structure, your midsection, and all that started to literally take a different shape.
Yes.
Not just feel better, but take it on a different shape. Is that correct? Or?
Yeah, everything was really changing. The blood, the structure, and especially now in when we'll talk about the last 8 months, last year, it's been changing a lot, the structure. But in the first 2.5 years, it was more kind of sleeping process.
Right.
And you told me then that it was my kind of detox. I did the hardest detox when I was sick, because I was sick for 10 years. So I did kind of a lot of things in that time. So I kind of prepared and did the detox a little before, because that was very hard times for me. So I got to do a lot of stuff and things and clean up with people and parents or whatever, friends. I did a lot of things in that part of life. So
plus, you're the type of person that really wants to go in deep and do it right the first time, right? And just if you're going to go in, might as well just go in deep and clean it out. So I think it took you, although it's a very short time, I don't know, 1.5 years, 2 years, till today. But still, within that time frame, you've cleared out decades and decades. And then also some of the pain that you probably went through. When your body has to shift at your age, right, to form itself back to its original state, well, it does kind of hurt. I mean, even babies go through growing pains, when they're bones, right? Because I've had kids. I have 6 kids. So, they go, when their bones start to grow, they get knee aches, and it's pretty painful. So I can imagine how painful it was for you just to reshape your bone structure and everything else. So,
yeah, it was kind of dying. I don't know how many times I've been dying. It feels like whole body and my bones and everything is kind of, I get locked. It's kind of, and especially in the last half a year, I was waking up in the morning and I couldn't walk because it was kind of locked. It's kind of, it's very painful to the extreme.
And I just want to preface that, yes, you were dying, but the old version of you kept dying. Yes. So it was just a death after death because you were used to death. Because again, your sister had passed away, so it's a pattern of death that you detox. Now, for many of you who are out there now, if you run similar patterns, you probably have the same level of detox. Not the same level, but the same pattern of detox. So if there's a dead person around you, or frequencies of the dead, you would have, say, a death experience as you detox. If anger was used, for example, again for you as well, some of the emotional issues and so on, anger was used to control you and so on, you would have anger come up, not to destroy you this time, but anger or any other tool, anger, depression, fear, whatever it might be that has been used to control you in the past. Well, this time, since it has been proven to work successfully for you, what happens is that as you awaken, your vital force or your etheric body starts to use that same pattern, again, because it's been proven successful, to push you out of the same space that you got yourself into. It's basically the reverse, right? But you're using it for a better cause.
Yes. Yeah, so spot on that the anger was used to control me. And it's really spot on. In the last half a year or the last year, it was really coming back to me to revisit that. Yeah, it's interesting.
So let's talk about, let's say, this last half a year or the last 8 months or so, because your patterns ran so deep, Ramona. I know you a little bit more. You're a dear friend. We've had lunch with Faye. I don't know where, Paris and London and Greece, wherever else. Yeah, so we've seen each other a lot. So the last 8 months, you said that anger was used, but I think your patterns used to run so deep, and this is what I want to cover. They used to run so deep, they get really literally stuck on us. It's like a tattoo. It gets really embedded in us. So we really have to really focus. I always say it's the last, say, 20%, I think, the last 8 months. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
The 80% you go through, and it might be hard for some people. And again, not everybody has to go through a heavy detox. There's about 40 or 50% of the individuals that really don't go through any detox. They're free to let it go, and they just transform, they shift. But for some people, again, anger, fear, control, those types of patterns take a little longer, and it's a little more intense. Again, from your background, not from EI or from what I do. The last 20%, so maybe the last eight months or so, tell us a little bit about that. And how, say, focused that you would have to be, because I warn people, or don't I keep mentioning, you have to stay focused, you have to stay in time. So tell us about how you stayed in time, or how you stayed in focus, and you didn't look back.
No, it was extremely, it was crazy, because I had my big transformation, back in time. And then the whole 2 years was kind of a little blissful sometimes, so it was good for me. And then I thought, I will not go back to these hard times again. And then I was really hit for, now it's, 10 months ago. And it's really dark night. It was very, very heavy. It was very surprising for me. And I was really starting to go close to backwards again. I was starting to getting symptoms of getting sick again, because my immune system was going down. So I was really, really struggling. And that was, as I understand, it is kind of deeper patterns of my identity, all the filters, all the patterns that I was carrying in the family line, and also about the whole humanity patterns from very, very, very long time into the beginning of time. I was really going through a lot of stuff. So as you said, you shouldn't scare anyone, but for me it was like, this was really scary for me, because I saw you back in Oslo in November, and then I was really in the deep shit, and it was not.
So let's explain that for everybody. So for her, and again, many individuals go through this as they ascend higher. And then I want to talk about your abilities and how you've transformed, because you actually help executives, from what I believe, or business people. So we'll get into that in just a second. So for her, again, just to explain, guys, what happens is that, you're at a certain level. You go to the next level. It's like being promoted, right? You get promoted. It's like, hey, you're being you've got the big corner office now. So what do? You move out, you clean out your desk. And as you clean out your desk, you get memories or old patterns, right? Or old papers or old files. It's like, oh my goodness, I remember this. And it's like, well, do I want to take this with me into my new paradigm, into my new bigger office, lovely office. And this is where you start to revisit some of the old patterns, some of the old issues. It's not that it's coming back. It's not like the other shoe is dropping. Is that what they say? wait till the shoe drops. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just that as you go to the next level, you're cleaning up a much, much deeper layers. And then from there, it's like, are you sure you want to take these things with you? Right. And then what do? You confirm those deletions. And so if you want to talk a little bit about how you confirm those deletions, and then once you confirm those deletions one more time, well, they're no more. They're history. You can't, I don't think for you can't even,
access.
I don't think you can even go back to those times or even remember those times. So maybe talk about that one, confirming your deletions and how you did it, especially because this is a pivotal point because it's past that 20%. You've done 80%, you got 20% more. It's really a breaking point for people. This is where it gets a lot more fun. This is where EI actually starts to kick in. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was the breakthrough I had in early May. And, I've been going through so many things. So I thought that I really understood things, how the mechanics worked. But then I was really seeing myself, then I understand, wow, it's really, really not like what I thought it was. So what was happening was that I was really starting to see my patterns in a deep level. The first, I was, he was taking away or helping my sister that my mother had a loss of on the other side. So my core patterns, and I knew that have been in life, is about loss, about losing things, and especially children and partners. Right. And I was going deep into these things. And I was with a partner at that time, and it was a breakup there. And then from that time, I was really going into this lost thing because it was very painful. It was very hurtful to be where I was. And then I saw that there was this core loss patterns was really doing something with my behavior, because I knew it was there, but to really catch that, I was really controlling and latching onto other people. I knew it in one way, but I didn't get it why. So I was going deeper into these things, and that was the breakthrough was coming. And it was before I met you. I was together with a man. He was very abused. He was kind of had a disease, like an attachment disease disorder. And he was escaping and hiding from me. He was kind of physically and emotionally not there. And when just in May, before my breakthrough, he was sending me a message. And then I thought, wow, I'm going in to see if he can learn me something, if I can find something in this to be aware of what's going on here. And then I was going back there before I met you, and when I was with him, and then I saw, because there wasn't another girl there with him. So, and that time I saw that girl was really controlling him. I saw she was having him in one hand, and she had a dog in the other hand, and she was totally controlling him. And that's why it was not possible for us anyway. And in that moment, I saw that, because it was so disgusting for me to see that when I saw that. And in that moment, just in May, I saw myself, if I was being together with that man, I will just have done the same thing as she did. And it was so disgusting. When I saw that, Ramona, you are really doing just the same thing. Wow. Because you have these patterns of loss with you, you are so afraid of being hurt again and lose again. And because of that fear, you are controlling other people, because you are afraid of losing again. And that's then you latch onto someone or you control someone. And when I saw that, from that moment, I just totally changed. My whole, everything changed. It was kind of, yes. It was this big aha moment. It was so fantastic.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. It's just amazing, best, moments it's possible to have.
So what a learning experience, huh? It's just amazing once you elevate yourself to a different level. You see it so clearly, and then as soon as you see it so clearly, it is just like a snap. It's like, No more. You don't have to go through counseling. You don't have to do, remember this shit and that. I got to do this in front of people. It's just gone. The pattern's just gone, and you react differently, which is quite beautiful. Again, one thing I want to talk about is that people who run your patterns, they disguise that controlling factor as caring. Does that make sense to you? Or over caring? So I want to get a little bit that out. Does that make sense to you? Or?
Yeah. It is that.
I think mothers do that a lot, right? Yes. They're so insecure. They overburden their children, and they think that, well, I'm just loving them. I'm just taking care of them because I want them to be safe. You're not doing any of that. What you're doing is that you're so insecure that you're creating an excuse so you can literally burden your child and just like latch onto them and literally drown them.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe your mom.
The same, of course, in generation, they have done the same thing. If I had a child, I will have done just the same thing, just repeating the patterns.
Exactly.
But what I see is that the older women, back in time, it's been so much loss. There is a core pattern of loss. Partner, children, everything. It's so deep inside the women, all the women. So it is. That's why, women is controlling and latching on to their children and other partners, whatever. It's there.
Right, especially from your probably lineage, because you've probably gone through a lot of war, a lot of shortages, right? A lot of your men in your family probably losing, getting lost or, dying because of war, famine, and so on like that. So I'm not saying it's a stupid pattern. I'm just saying it's a pattern. And, generations past, your family probably did a fantastic job. It was a great tool at a time. Now it's like burdening us, just like anything else. It was a great tool at a time to use, but now again, it's not beneficial for us anymore.
It's not. And, in my family, it was starting with how I know it's from the early 1900s. It's when the people was traveling to America, it's and my grandmother, all the sibling was going to America, and she needed to be and take care of the parents. So that's a big loss because there was letters and something, but it's a big loss, and you couldn't go. So, and in the family line, in the both side, there have been loss of children. It's kind of during pregnancy, but, when they are in accident for, 40 years old, and suicide is very, very much, it's all about losing children and partners for wars and everything, So.
Exactly. And just from what I've seen and, working on, I don't know, tens of thousands of people, what I've seen is that you not only transfer hereditary patterns like, your skin color, your eye shape, color, and all that stuff. And there's been a lot of scientific research about that as well. All those things you inherit, right? The worry pattern, the abuse pattern, the loss pattern in her case. And then although you might not be losing a child or anything like that, but you always feel that you are, or you're gonna lose a partner, you're gonna lose a child, you're gonna lose your career, you're gonna lose your health, you're gonna lose whatever it is, because that's the pattern that's running. Although you could be, a millionaire in a perfect relationship, perfect health, you'd still be afraid of that, right?
Yeah, it is. I was together with a man for 20 years, my first partner, and the last 10 years we was back and forth. Was back and forth because and from this moment I know why, because when I was in the relationship it didn't work, all the patterns I was carrying, and I was latching onto him and all of that stuff. But when I went away, I couldn't stay away from him because then I lost him. I couldn't separate from him, so I was kind of forced to go back. And when I was there, I couldn't be there. So we was talking about why is this happening? Because we was kind of attracting back and forth all the time.
Exactly.
And it was quite crazy because it felt like it's not me. I really love that man, but it stopped work. Why are we going back again? And that's only that pattern. It's just about the pattern I was running. So it's just crazy.
It is. And now that you've gone to a higher level, and I want to get into some of your abilities that's changed. We might love somebody, and it doesn't matter if you love them, you don't love them. That doesn't matter. It's the patterns that dictate how that love progresses. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not about love.
No.
It's got nothing to do with love, hate, or any of those emotions. Nothing to do. It's just the underlying patterns that you run. Right?
Yes.
So,
and that's the thing with the really breakthrough I had to understand a little more how this really is working, because I had my lost patterns. And my attitude was that I was controlling, but then I saw that I was really attracting other people, a partner that was having very, abuse patterns. Mm-hmm. And because of, they was afraid of being hurt again and were fearful for that, then they was hiding and escaping from me. And of course, when I was latching onto them and tried to control, they was kind of hiding more, so it's like
right.
It's like a nuclear bomb, it's kind of, it's not about love. It's just a fight about patterns.
That's true.
And to see these complementary patterns, that's everything that was happening in my life and this situation with the partners. It was only about complementary patterns and nothing else. Just that was the attraction. And to see that was kind of, it was such a big shock. I knew that, you can read it in books and but to have this deeper deeper understanding of that was totally crazy. It's like the background I'm seeing when you really see it from a bigger perspective and another perspective. And it was kind of, wow, it's mind blowing to just see that.
So let's talk about that. Because when you're at a same level as the pattern that you're operating at, it's really hard to see. You can't see it, right? I mean, you were there for, 40 some years, right? You can't see it, but then you ascend it higher and higher, and it's like, oh my God, it's so clear. And you're just speaking about it so objectively, where say in counseling situations or, a psychiatrist's office or even science type stuff, if you're at the same level, you just kind of go around in circles, and you're not really addressing the situation, right? Yeah. And then that situation never resolves. Yeah. You can see that once you step up into the next level, you get to see it so clearly. And again, it's just like a snap of a finger. Things just change. They literally change. So how did you, let's talk about a little bit about your abilities. Because what do? You help business people?
Yeah, I'm working with leadership development. I've done that since 2003. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm working with groups of people and one-on-one.
So you're kind of a consultant type. Would that be?
Teacher, consulting.
Teacher, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from the beginning, again, you would see like surface layer problems, right? Like we just talked about. But now you get to see the underlying structure. So how has that changed, say, what you do? Because a lot of people go, well, it's etheric. It's really not etheric. This is the real world examples, guys. Like her health, her beauty, and all that. She's a result. Now you help other people. And to me, it's like a lot quicker, right? The transformations.
It is. I'm born with my abilities. I was very in the night dreams. I was dreaming kind of true things. So I was being very afraid of that part, because I was just to say that when my mother had a loss that summer, I was dreaming that my mother was going to have a baby. And then I was dreaming that night that in that summer that I was going to have a sister, but she was dying. So morning after, when my mother said, what did you dream tonight? And I said, no, I didn't dream anything, because tell her that I was going to have a sister and she was dying. And just some month after, my mother told me that oh, she had a loss. That was the sister who was embedded in me. Then from that moment, I thought that because I was dreaming that I was, I killed her. I was the one who was who did that. So the guilt feeling for a child to carry is very, very hard. So I was very afraid of my nightly dreams. And when you was asking about the ability, so, I saw people, I saw before, I saw a lot of things going on,
Like behind the curtain.
Yes. So I was very sensitive, so I was I didn't understand human because why do I see this and I really see something else? It was always a problem for me. So, but what's changing now is that I can really see people from on another place. I can see more the distortions, see what's the patterns they are running. So it's much easier to help people because I see much more. I see what's really, the core patterns. I know what I was going through, and then it's so important to see the core thing, what's there for people to change, to have, its affect the whole life.
Sure.
And of course the role as a leader and the whole life. So that's the biggest shift for me.
So how do your clients handle that? I mean, when you tell them, because they're like business clients, right? And you can't really you can't disconnect what business and then personal life, right? Because who you are, it's the same. Who you are affects, what you're going to do in business, right? And most people go, well, I'm this person, and then in business, I'm this person. No, you're not. It causes burnout for you, one, but it really distorts you, right? So do you want to talk about that a little bit if you want? And then we can get into some of the questions, because as you've ascended, you've come up with some, beautiful, really fantastic questions that are going to help a lot of people on the way.
Yeah, it's not everyone is open for this kind of work, and it's scary, like it was for me. We are protecting ourselves. That's what we are doing. We're going around the world and protect ourselves. So for me, my work is to try to find a way to break down the wall and to find an opening for that. So not, of course, when they are not opened, it's harder to be so directly as I can be, but I try to, so. But what I see is that people is changing anyway. If whatever,
because it's your presence.
Yes. So that's the most. That's the most beautiful part of it. I think just be with people, work with people. They will change just to be together. So that's the difference from my work before, because then I really needed to do something. Now it's more about being together and things will change. Yeah.
Right. Like designing logistics and plans and this and that to, I don't know, make profits work or make things more efficient or, goal set and all that. This is more that you are that efficient person. You are that profitable person on the inside, right? And then you start reflecting that on the outside. Believe me, guys, who's ever in business, it's so much easier, so much faster. It's like you have a concierge service doing a lot of the background work. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it does. And when I am working with a group of people, you are not talking about maybe not the issue for every one of them, but they're changing so fast and they are really opening up to help each other, and they're really shifting very, very fast. So it's amazing what's possible to do for people. Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it all, Ramona, and please talk about this, is that, when you help people, it's not just about the business that you're helping them become their self.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, there's so many companies that talk about customer retention and how do you hold on to customer, and, you give them gifts, you give them coupons, you give them discounts, you give them, savers clubs and all that stuff. And again, I'm not knocking those down, but real customer retention is that you solve that deeper core issue that everybody on this planet is looking for, a sense of completeness in this reality. Once you offer that to them, they not only are thankful for you, but they hang out with you. They want to be around you. They trust you so deeply because their life is so changed. It's just amazing. And then they refer tons and tons of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It does.
And you don't have to worry about losing them.
No.
Because they can't get it anywhere else.
I'm not afraid of losing anything anymore. I think so.
Well, there you go.
No, and somebody's coming on a course and say that training and they are learning about leadership, and then I think, oh, we need to learn, planning, blah, blah, blah. But the only thing is about themselves, to be a strong leader, to know themselves. It's the core thing is how to know yourself. How to be, because you are a role model and you really know if you are going to lead anyone, you need to understand how to lead yourself, how to know yourself.
Exactly.
That is where it's starting. It's not about other people. It's
not about your title. No. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about where you went to school or whatever it is, or who you know, or all that, right? It's about yourself so strong. No matter where you are, you could be the male person and you walk into a meeting sooner than later, you start becoming that one individual. And it's happened to quite a few people in the corporate world. That one person, again, this is a real live example, a male clerk. The CEO and all the C-suite type executives, they gravitate around this male clerk now because, they're searching for that completeness and they feel good and they get ideas from this person as well.
They get results. They get results. They want results, but they get results in so many ways,
Right. They might not know why. They might not know why they're hanging out with that person, but that person does. Yeah. Right. The person who's practicing EI does. So it's really cool, isn't it? It's the most fantastic thing ever.
It is. And it is. So it's about, self-leadership. So I think that if we are going to the place that we really have this higher consciousness and really know ourselves, then everyone is a leader. When we are everyone in that level, we don't need the level of leaders we have today that we need to acknowledge us and to say, hey, good job, good work, or whatever, to praise and pray or whatever. But exactly. we know we are good enough. I really know that the work I did was just fantastic. So I don't need it. I don't need that. Of course, if I get that, it's beautiful. If you say something to me, Mas, of course, I like it, but I don't need it.
You don't need it because you just are. Plus, in the conventional leadership style, I think a lot of leaders, especially political leaders or government systems, they have to destroy somebody or something and then to save them to make themselves feel good.
Yes.
Right.
It's so much manipulation out there in leaders.
That's so sad.
It's to the extreme. Working with it's just sad. I've seen it. I've been working with organizations since I was 23, and we've seen executives and CEOs since then, and it's just sad to see how controlled people are. And you higher up, more control.
For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.